Art block again? I'm running out of ideas. What am I going to...
Hello? Oh my god! Wake the fuck up, you lazy fuck! Jesus fucking...
Hello again! In this video, well, you already see, I'm turning Miku into a siren. But not only am I doing that, I'm going to try my best to create a figure design of this Miku siren. It's going to be challenging, but fun, so let's get to it. I was randomly thinking of a new design to do, and sirens popped in my mind. I love sirens. I think they have one of the best archetypes. I just love the revenge and just. One example I would say is Love, Death, and Robots. There is a siren in there. I don't know if that's the right term for her, but she is like siren-esque. And oh my gosh, she's just so beautiful. The way they animated her was beautiful and everything. So I was like, yeah, I want to do like a siren theme. And then Miko came into mind, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. She has this beautiful singing voice. It makes sense to make her, that. And we need more horror Mikus. We have a lot of Mikus already. You're like, why are you doing another Miku? Well, we need more horror Miku. There's one artist that I used to love when it came to this aspect, and that was for this design, but unfortunately, the artist, turned to AI, and I even canceled my pre-order figure because of that. But it's whatever. Maybe one day in the future, I'll get lucky and get one of their old figures before they turn to that. Anywho, let's talk about the design. I really wanted to give this in battle moment for the figure design. So I wanted her to stand out, but also have like a cool base. So this was my first sketch of the Siren Miku. After I was done, I knew I had to make a lot of changes. I added the rope veil. I thought it was so camp. I was like, yes, like she's having a rope veil, like who does that? Obviously somebody that doesn't care about humans coming after her, Now it's time for step 2. The first thing I had to really change and lock into was her face card. When it comes to figures, one thing that I really, really love is really good face cards. If they're very expressive, I love it. I love it when it's done right. I love good faces. If the face is bad, I don't care how good the figure looks, as in dynamic, or the colors or the clothes that it's wearing. I don't care. If the face is not right, I'm not happy, bro. So I was like, okay, I gotta make her have a really good, interesting face card for a Miku siren. So I also wanted to add some jewelry to her because she's a mermaid. Why wouldn't she? I did 4 different skin tones. I wanted her to be tan, sort of like a Caribbean baddie, she's coming out of that water and she is just hair laid, lipstick done, blush done, like she is a baddie. So I tried all different skin tones. Like I said, I wanted her to be tan, and usually Miku, most of the time, Miku is fair skinned, very pale. And I was like, how do I make tan Miku look like Miku? It's gonna be harder, I guess. Anywho, I did the makeup, and I love the makeup look. I was going for the water ocean pearl, vibe. Also for the earring, I had a music note thing going on, and then in the note, there's a pearl. I don't know, I thought it was fun. I gave her red eyes because I thought it would just really match with the danger of it. Don't go to her. She has red eyes. I don't know what else to say. I also added gills to her neck. It was just a last moment thing I added in there. Also, I added some scales, and I wanted to have that kind of shimmering effect, so I tried to airbrush it to make it look like that. But I don't know if it came out exactly how I wanted to. It was kind of hard. There's even like makeup looks with people doing it. That's what I was trying to go for, but it's really pretty. Anywho, after doing the 4 designs, I changed the different hair colors to see which one matches the skin tone. And at first, I liked the pale one and then the tanner one, but then I couldn't pick at all. I was like, okay, I have to make a decision. I just chose the original skin color that I was going with the first time during my sketch. So that was the first one. It was just, I was already doing that one, so why not just choose that one? I basically did that for no reason. Actually, no. I had valid reasons for doing all the different skin tones because I had fun. I just thought it was so fun to see all the different skin tones and see how the colors work on them and what needs to be changed for the colors to be more dramatic in a way. I also wanted Miku to look as mature as possible. We have a lot of like different younger versions of Miku and more mature faces. That's what I was going for. I wanted her to be very mature, grown, and not looking like a younger Miku, which was kind of hard, especially with giving her like these big eyes. I was like, how am I gonna make her look mature, like older, instead of just looking like she is? I know Miku originally is like supposed to be 18, if I remember, or 16. I don't remember anymore. But you could change. Essentially, Miku is like Barbie. You can change her to whatever you want. Okay, just stop talking to me. You know what? Leave me alone. I just said she's gonna be grown. I wanted to see how my decision would look if I, just drew her again. And this time I drew in a different position to really see how this face card would work out. I really liked it, but as I said, I didn't feel like she looked as grown as I wanted her to. And also, I was kind of like not sure about the highlights in the eyes, even though they kind of look like tears, or like her eyes are watery because she's coming out of the water. And maybe some drops will come into her eyes. That's what I was kind of going for. But then I was like, she looks too cute with the little sparkles in her eyes. Also, I gave her these mermaid fin ears. I don't remember what they're called. I don't want to search them up right now, but I gave her those. And I took away her regular ears and put her 01, what the heck, on her ear. Oh my gosh. I wanted it to look like a scar, as if somebody has forcibly made her Miku, I don't know. But yeah, I also gave her a shell, as you've seen in the previous one, and I decided to keep it for now. But one thing I did change immediately, for sure, were the eyes. I was not liking how they looked, and I remembered how they looked without having any highlights. So, yeah. Even though it does give like watery, teary eyes, which is cute, but it's just, no, I want her to be evil. I want her to be like, just dulled-eyed, no highlights, completely straight business, you know what I mean? Also, I kept the little face tat, and I really like the 2 pearls, but on the side of her eyes, as well as the earrings. Even though I put them on the fin because she no longer has, regular ears, it looked cute, like, who has pierced fins? She does, because she's Siren Miku. Anywho, I went back and I changed Miku's eyes. Now, as you could see here, I was having some trouble. And you're like, why would you be having trouble? You can just go in there and just switch to eye color. As you can see, I was not organized at all. I had to go through every single layer to figure out which layer was the eyes for the first design I did. I was low-key tweaking out. I was like, where the heck are these eyes? So I could just draw already. I didn't know where they were because I was just being unorganized, and I wasted time doing that. So you're gonna see what happens when you're not organized. You waste time. You waste a lot of time. Finally, I got rid of the eyes, And you know what? I was like, okay, that's good enough. I could have just like removed the highlights, but I really could not find where the highlights were. So I just took the whole eye color off, and I wanted to see how this darker color looked on her eyes. I was like, oh, black eyes. Miku doesn't really have black eyes. Let me see how this looks, you know? It was very like, oh, let me see. And it does look pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. It's just like, even though it does give that like dull, evil vibe, and it does make her stand out, it still did not like have that same, like, it didn't have enough contrast as the red eyes did for me. So I just decided, you know what, even though this is a cute little thing I'm trying, I'm gonna go with the red eyes instead. So I decided to fix the mess I did and turn her eyes red again. After wasting my time. Yes, I did. I went back to red again. And I was like, yeah, I really like this dull, evil kind of look. And it just really brings her eye and makeup out. As well as, you know, keeping it very... Look, it makes her look more mature. I don't know why. I'm not saying you can't have highlights in your eyes when you get older, but it just helped with making her look more serious. I know there's a figure that has like a very serious face and she has highlights, but her having no highlights kind of gave this like non-human kind of vibe, which really kind of like got me like, oh my gosh, yeah, I like that. I like that. So I looked at both of them and I was like, yeah, I like the red eyes. I also added like a blue ring around her red eye to really just give that mermaid siren fish vibe. And it looks so good. I loved it so much. So finally, it is time for step 3. This was a very long process, so you're gonna have to sit down for this one. It's very long, but don't worry, I'll make it entertaining. So the first thing I wanted to see was how the hair colors would look differently on all different faces. You know, how to really give that wet hair vibe for art. I suck at drawing hair, obviously. I'm not very good at it. So learning how to draw wet hair was like a huge challenge for me. Apparently, like, wet hair is like just completely dull. Most of the time it is really dull when it's wet. So I was like, okay, how do I give like dull hair but also have like vibrant hair at the same time? So I did 3 different little sketches and the process began. As I said before, I wanted her to have a more mature vibe. I didn't want her to be all sunshine and rainbows. I wanted her to be all, you know, blood and death and revenge, you know? So all 3 different hairstyles have the same color, but the darker part of her hair is different. So for the first one, I made it like more, all of the hair is dark. For the second one, I made the ends more darker. And for the third one, I made the hair like halfway dark. And honestly, the one that looks more wet is the first one, I would have to say. Having like most of the hair dark looks better, but I was just like, I like number 2. Even though number 1 really did give off wet hair. Now it was time to come up with the design for her clothes, you know? And I really had to focus on how I wanted her to look because you could tell a story with just her clothes. Just how they look as a character can tell a story already. So I was wondering to myself, what story is this Siren Miku going to have? What do I want her to give off? Obviously, I want her to be, oh my gosh, intimidating, scary. But, like, how do I do that? How am I gonna make the Siren Miku look intimidating, scary, spooky? How? So the first thing I did was sketch her body. It wasn't too hard. I'm getting better at anatomy. Like I said, it was just a sketch, so I was working very fast. There is probably a lot of like mistakes in there, just ignore them. But I quickly did a sketch of her body frame. Even though it was a quick sketch, I wanted her to have this sort of dynamic pose, like her coming out of the water kind of vibe. So I just locked in and tried my best to give that pose. And when I finally did, I just duplicated it like 4 times. No, actually 3 times. I don't know what I'm talking about. I duplicated it 3 times and began the process of designing the pose. Because why waste time when I already made the sketch? I'm not gonna do that 2 more times. Why? Why would I waste my time doing that? Anywho, after duplicating, I had to think to myself, what kind of vibe of clothes would this Siren Miku wear? And the only thing I could think of was very flowy and wet. I wanted her clothes to be drenched in water, but very flowy as well. So the kind of clothes that I went for were these just very like silk kind of vibes. You know what I mean? So I began coloring. And when I was coloring, I was like, okay, I can't wait to see how these different colors would look. I need to make them as different as possible. I don't want them to look alike at all. Because where's the fun in that? Oh, also I forgot to say, for her mermaid fins, I added the mermaid scales. I mean, oh my gosh, the siren scales. Mermaids and sirens are not the same. They're totally different. This is not your H2O. Okay, this is sirens. I keep forgetting myself. Anywho, I also decided to add the skull there to give that kind of, evil vibe. I didn't really know much about how I'm going to create her story, but I did know that she just wants revenge and she likes skulls and bones. That's it. That's all I had, to be honest. So I sat down and I was like, okay, I'm going to create these clothes for her. So let's think about who she is as a character. I started with the second design and gave her a lot of jewelry, and also, instead of giving her the veil rope net, I gave her these rope sleeves. I'm going to talk about more on why I did that. For the first one, I gave her, the same flowy dress, but gave her these see-through sleeves. Very cute. And for the last one, I gave her 2 chains on her waist and gave her even more puffy sleeves and keeping the same flowy dress. The first one is very cute, adorable, but it's too like goddess for me. I feel like the mother from Hercules would wear that. You know what I mean? It was just too colorful, too mermaid for me. I need siren. I need horror. Even though horror could be like, you don't have to be like, like just all bloody and everything for it to be horror. There can be like huge horror. But I just wanted her to really give siren vibes and not mermaid goddess vibes. So I went back to the second one and really focused on making these jewelries and sort of have this ribcage metal moment, as well as really just focusing on that rope net that I was doing. And then the last one was like more of a ghost haunted kind of vibe. I kept the colors very bland and dark to really make the hair the focal point. Also, the shells are different color. I did not like the dark shells. I liked the bone-ish kind of color that I had for the second one. Overall, my favorite one was the second design. Now, I'm going to explain why I changed the rope net from, the veil to sleeves. Also, I added a heart there. I forgot for a moment. I added a see-through kind of heart because, like some fishes, you could like see through them and you could see their heart beating like that. I don't know why. I just thought it would be a cool vibe to add it to this mermaid thing. Now, I decided to give her the rope net as sleeves instead because I did not like how the veil looked, especially when she has these huge mermaid fins and her hair was like down and it was just too much stuff going on, and then the shell in there, it didn't make any sense anymore. So I made the rope net a arm sleeve instead. It really does still convey the she's not scared of humans kind of vibe. She's not afraid of people capturing her because she's not going to be captured. So I was okay with it. Lastly, I did the hands. Now, if you've seen my last video, the Silent Hill Miku, you'll realize that I'm doing X-ray again. I am. I just had so much fun the last time. And I was like, wait, what if I do X-ray fingers? It would just be so much fun. Yeah, so originally, the first one had dark nails. The second one has this X-ray version. And then the third one has these kind of like ghostly nails. And like I said before, I really liked the first one. It was very cute. Gave off goddess vibes, mermaid vibes. Very cute, very pretty, but I just wanted more siren vibes. So I took that one out of the list. Then we have the second one. That's my favorite one. I chose that one because it really just gives off evil, and it kind of like tells a story with having that rope net around her and having these jewelries on her because she's a siren. Of course, she's gonna be having that luxury kind of vibe. And then having the see-through heart was a really cool aspect I liked, as well as having her clothes be like see-through even more with the second design. For the third design, it was very cute, but as I said, it gave too much ghost. It gave Ghost of the Sea. You know, like La La Llorona? I think that's how you say her name. If I butchered it, I apologize. Do not come after me. I do not need her coming after me either, so let's keep it cordial. But yeah, it gave ghost vibes. Too much for me. So I decided to stick with number 2. Also, while doing this design, I thought a little bit about what her story would be. Like, yes, I know she's evil, yes, I know she's intimidating, but why is she a siren? And why is she Miku? So I thought, I had 2 ideas. One was she's some sort of experiment that was gone wrong, so they just left her in the ocean. Maybe she was at an attraction. It was a mermaid theme Miku thing, and she was just there. And then the other one is she was just born a siren. I don't know. I'll go more into it later on, but let's go on to the next step. Alright, it was finally time for me to do the base design. And as you can tell, I was very excited about this. The reason why is because I love creative bases. I think they're just so cool, especially when they interact with the moment that is happening with the figure. I just think it's really cool. Most of my figures that I have are just plain bases. I don't have full bases, unfortunately, but I do love them. Maybe one day. But I wanted her to be on this rock and the water sort of rushing out. And I thought, why not have the water rushing out in the form of a mermaid siren tail? I was like, yes, this is gonna look so good. Obviously, I am not the best when it comes to drawing water. Anything that's liquid, I'm just not good at it. So I tried my best and looked at references of how water looks when it's rushing out, and that's what I came up with. I also wanted it to look a little bit bloody to give that in battle moment, as well as adding the skulls, arrows, and swords to be oh, this girl's fighting. I think this base really shows in a moment of battle. So here's when things started to go downhill. It was a horrifying experience trying to do the figure pose. I was losing it. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was art block. I don't know if I was burnt out. I cannot tell you what it was. I don't even know myself. I could not get the pose down. I was sitting there for a long time, and I realized I even made the figure too big and made the base super small. I was like, what am I doing? I need to make the figure smaller. So I was like just trying to fix the pose, make it smaller, make sure she's standing on the skulls, and just calling out to you, singing in a battle cry, and not looking very happy either. Just kind of like, she's angry, and I just couldn't do it. I was like, what's going on here? I did another pose, trying again, since I was like, okay, maybe it's just because it's my first sketch. Let me try again. And no, it was not working out. The anatomy was not right. Like, I'm not too good at anatomy, but I knew something was wrong with my poses. So I went to the mannequin. You know it's bad when I go to the mannequin. I hate the mannequins. I don't know. I don't know why I hate them. So I just went away. I took a break and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to draw random poses. Because I don't use references. Maybe that's why I kept messing up. When it comes to the poses for the bodies, I don't use references. Maybe I need to use more of them because I was losing it. After doing the sketch of the body, I was just like, you know what? Okay, let me try again. I was really forcing myself, and I had to realize that maybe it is time for me to take a break. And me forcing myself is not doing anything. So I'm gonna give it a go tomorrow. So, yeah, a whole week passed of me not being able to draw. I don't know what happened. I I just don't know. I can't even tell you. But I tried a pose again after a week, and I was like, okay, this pose is pretty decent. I'm going to have to fix it up, but I can work with this. It was way better than before. I I don't know what happened there. As I said before, I really wanted her to look like she's calling out to you, singing out to you, and is like, come here, come to me kind of vibe. As I said before, her story, I decided to lean more into her being at this attraction that was made, a long time ago, because she is a robot. So she was this very high tech, advanced Miku robot who was abandoned. And, she was used for entertainment, and now she wasn't anymore. So she gathers the people, take their skulls, and has like her own little underwater, sort of like arena where she gets to sing to these skulls, and she's still a performer in a way. I don't know. It was very like I just thought about it out of nowhere, out of the blue. It was just a quick story. So now I was doing the dress. I wanted it to look wet. And I realized, wow, I really love these sculptures that have this wet kind of carving on it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a wet dress for her because she is coming out of the ocean. So I'm gonna do my best to try to convey that wet dress. It was kind of hard, I'm not going to lie. It was my first time doing that, but I really liked the transparency of it. It was so much fun. I don't know why I love doing transparent things, even though I said I suck at drawing like liquids and stuff like that. Doing that transparent sort of dress was just really fun, as well as the fins. I don't know why. I did the jewelry. The jewelry was kind of hard for me to do because it was so tiny. Another thing I realized later on when doing her design was all of those little details I had in mind, I couldn't really put it into the drawing because the drawing is so tiny. I was like, oh no, I can't even do that little swoop on her eye that I did because her face is turning a certain angle. I just feel like I wasted time doing all that designing, and I couldn't even put all the little details I did on there. I also struggled with the hands. They were so tiny. I was like, okay, that's it. I finally finished the best I could, and this is the results of our Miku Siren. She came out very nice, very pretty. I love the detail on her dress, even though it's like not the best. It's pretty decent for my first time attempting to do a wet dress style. Also, I really do love her face card. This project had a lot of challenges, but I learned from this. So I want to continue doing challenges like this, even though it makes me lose my mind. Bye.